Eric Wells stood at attention as the Earthship docked with the Xertian space station. His blue uniform felt tight around his neck. As a lieutenant commander in Earth's Space Force, he had been on many missions, but this was his first time meeting. "Aliens, remember Lieutenant Commander?" said the diplomat next to him. "We are guests here. The Xertians have been peaceful so far. Your job is just to stand there and look official." Eric nodded. He understood his role. Earth had only discovered the Xertians 6 months ago. This meeting was important for both planets. Eric was not supposed to talk or do anything except follow the diplomats and look strong. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Eric saw the Xertians for the first time in person. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with bodies covered in a hard shell like insects. Their skin underneath was clear, and Eric could see colors moving inside them like flowing water. The colors shifted from blue to green to purple. The head diplomat stepped forward. "We bring greetings from Earth. We are honored to meet with the great people of Xertia." The tallest Xertian moved forward. Unlike the others who showed blue and green colors, this one glowed with shades of gold and red. Eric realized this must be Queen Zorlaya, the ruler of the largest group of Xertians. "Earth beings, we welcome you to Xertia," said the Queen. Her voice sounded like music with strange notes. "We hope this meeting starts a long friendship between our worlds." Eric followed the diplomats as they walked through the space station. The Xertians had built it just for these meetings. Everything was too tall for humans, and the air smelled like cinnamon and metal. The Queen led them to a large room with a round table. "Please sit. We will share a meal first, as is our custom." Eric stood behind his diplomat while everyone else sat down. His job was to watch for danger, though nobody expected any. The Xertians seemed peaceful, almost too polite. The Queen's eyes found Eric. They were large, with pupils that changed shape like a cat's. "Your warrior does not sit?" she asked. The head diplomat smiled. "Lieutenant Commander Wells is our security officer. It is his duty to stand." The Queen's skin flashed with yellow light. "Interesting. On Xertia, even warriors must eat." Before anyone could respond, a loud boom shook the room. Pieces of the ceiling fell down. Eric moved fast, pulling diplomats under the table. "We're under attack," shouted a Xertian guard, his body flashing red with alarm, through the new hole. In the ceiling, Eric saw Xertians jumping down. But these looked different. Their shells were painted with black marks, and they carried weapons. "Separatists!" shouted Queen Zorlaya. "They reject peace with other worlds." Eric pulled out his laser pistol. He had hoped never to use it, but his training took over. The room filled with chaos as the rebel Xertians fired strange weapons that shot balls of energy. Eric saw a rebel aiming at the Queen. Without thinking, he jumped in front of her and fired his pistol. The rebel fell back, his shell cracked. "Behind you!" the Queen shouted to Eric. Eric turned too late. Pain exploded in his shoulder as an energy ball hit him. He fell to one knee but kept firing. The Queen was next to him now, using a weapon of her own. "You fight well, human," she said, her body glowing fierce orange. Eric gritted his teeth through the pain. "So do you, Your Majesty." Together they fought off 3 more rebels. Earth and Xertian security forces arrived, and the fight ended quickly after that. The rebels retreated, taking their wounded with them. Eric tried to stand but fell back down, his vision blurred at the edges. "The human warrior is injured," he heard the Queen say. Her voice sounded far away now. "Take him to the Royal Medical Chamber immediately." Eric woke up in a strange room. The walls pulsed with soft light. He lay on something between a bed and a pool of warm gel. His shoulder didn't hurt anymore. "You are awake. Good." Queen Zorlaya stood by his bed. Without other Xertians around, she seemed less formal. Her colors moved in gentle waves of blue and purple. "How long was I out?" Eric asked. 2 Earth days. "The rebel weapon caused damage to your internal systems. Our doctors had to study your biology quickly." Eric tried to sit up. The gel bed helped him move. "Thank you for saving my life." The Queen's colors shifted to a soft pink. "It is I who should thank you. You took a shot meant for me." "Just doing my job, Your Majesty." "Zorlaya," she said. When we are not in public, you may call me Zorlaya. Over. The next week, as Eric recovered, Zorlaya visited him every day. The diplomatic meetings continued without him, but the Queen always found time to see him. They talked about many things. Eric told her about growing up in Colorado, about the mountains and forests. Zorlaya shared stories of Zersha's floating cities and the crystal deserts. "Your world sounds beautiful," Eric said one day. "As does yours," Zorlaya replied, "though I cannot understand why you cover your colorful internal organs with shells that do not show your emotions." Eric laughed. "We call them clothes, not shells. And our organs don't change color with our feelings. How do your people know what others are feeling?" "We have to guess, based on faces and words. It's not always easy." Zorlaya's colors deepened to a thoughtful blue. "That sounds lonely." During his treatment, Zershan doctors gave Eric many medicines. They took samples of his blood and tissues to understand how to heal him. What nobody knew was that during one procedure, some of Eric's DNA mixed with the Queen's during a routine royal health scan. The machine that checked the Queen's genetic health used the same tools that had touched Eric's samples. It was a small mistake that nobody noticed. On his last day on Zersha, Eric stood with the diplomats again. His shoulder was fully healed. The peace talks had been successful despite the attack. Earth and Zersha had signed their first treaty. Queen Zorlaya, now formal again in front of her people, addressed the Earth team. "Return to your world with our friendship. We have much to learn from each other." When she reached Eric, she extended her hand in the human way of shaking. As their hands touched, Eric felt a strange connection, like an electric current passing between them. "Farewell, Warrior Wells," she said. "Farewell, Zorlaya," he whispered, so only she could hear. As the Earthship pulled away from Zersha, Eric watched the beautiful planet grow smaller through the window. He didn't know why, but he felt certain he would see it again. Something inside him had changed. Something more than just his healed shoulder. Back on the Royal Space Station, Queen Zorlaya placed her hand on her abdomen. She felt strange, different. The royal physician had noticed unusual readings during her last health scan but said nothing yet. Neither the Queen nor the human warrior knew that their lives had become connected in a way no one could have imagined. 3 months had passed since Eric Wells returned to Earth. He sat at his desk in the Space Force headquarters, trying to focus on his work. Reports about alien contacts filled his screen, but his mind kept drifting back to Zersha. Every night he dreamed of shifting colors and a musical voice. "Wells, you're zoning out again," said Captain Diane Rivera, his commanding officer. She stood in his office doorway with her arms crossed. Eric straightened in his chair. "Sorry, Captain. Just tired." "You've been just tired since you got back." "From Zersha?" She sat down across from him. "The doctors cleared you physically, but I'm starting to worry about your head." "I'm fine," Eric said. "You saved those diplomats and took a hit from an alien weapon. Nobody would blame you for having some after effects." Captain Rivera's voice softened. "Maybe you should talk to someone?" Eric nodded, knowing she wouldn't. "Let this go. I'll make an appointment with the counselor." After she left, Eric touched his shoulder where the Zershan weapon had hit him. It didn't hurt anymore, but sometimes it tingled, especially when he thought about Queen Zorlaya. That night his dreams were more vivid than ever. He saw Zersha's crystal deserts and felt the warm gel of the healing bed. He heard Zorlaya's voice, calling his name, her body glowing with colors he couldn't name. Eric woke up covered in sweat. His apartment felt too small, too Earth-like. He got up and went to his window, looking at the stars and wondering which one was Zersha's sun, across the galaxy. Queen Zorlaya sat alone in her royal chambers. Her body glowed with unusual color swirls of pink and gold that no Zershan had ever shown before. The royal physician, Dr. Kelks, entered with worried eyes. "My queen, your test results are unprecedented." Zorlaya's color shifted to anxious. "Purple. Tell me, you are carrying offspring," said Dr. Kelks. "That's impossible," Zorlaya said. "I have not performed the royal reproduction ritual." Dr. Kelks's body flashed with nervous green. "There's more. The genetic pattern shows non-Zershan markers." Specifically, they matched the samples we studied from the human warrior. Zorlaya froze, her colors going still. Lieutenant Commander Wells, how is this possible? We believe it. Happened during your routine health scan. The same equipment was used to analyze his tissue samples. There must have been cross-contamination. We never thought it could lead to ... Thus, it should have been biologically impossible. Zorlaya placed a hand on her abdomen. Does the council know? Not yet. But your changing colors will soon reveal your condition to everyone. Within days, the Xertian Council was in an uproar. Elder MZZK, his body flashing angry red, addressed the Queen. This abomination threatens the purity of the royal line. Thousands of years of Xertian breeding, contaminated by alien DNA. Younger council members disagreed. Our people have faced genetic decline for centuries, argued Councillor Vrain. Perhaps this is evolution's answer. Something new and stronger. Zorlaya listened to them argue, her hand protectively over her abdomen. Finally, she raised her voice. Enough! This child is royal by birth, regardless of its mixed heritage. However, I recognize this situation is unprecedented. I propose we contact Earth and inform the human father of this development. After much debate, the council agreed. They sent a message to Earth. The warrior Wells is needed for matters concerning the future of both our species. Back on Earth, Eric was eating breakfast when his doorbell rang. He opened it to find Ambassador Kelly Franklin, the head diplomat from the Xertia mission. Lieutenant Commander Wells, she said formally. May I come in? Eric let her in, confused by her serious expression. Is something wrong, Ambassador? We received a message from Xertia yesterday. She paused, as if searching for words. It's about Queen Zorlaya. She's expecting a child. Eric set down his coffee cup. That's nice. Why tell me? Ambassador Franklin looked him directly in the eyes. Because according to their scientists... You're the father, Eric stared at her. That's impossible. That's what our scientists said too. But Xertian tests confirm it. They believe it happened during your medical treatment. Some kind of accidental genetic exchange. Eric sat down hard on his couch. Images flashed through his mind: the medical chamber, the strange machines, Zorlaya's daily visits. They want you to return to Xertia, Ambassador Franklin continued. This is unprecedented in human-alien relations. The implications are enormous. What does Zorlaya say about all this? Eric asked quietly. She specifically requested your presence. The message said she would not make any decisions about the child without consulting you. Eric's mind raced. A child, his child with an alien queen. It sounded like a bad science fiction movie. And yet he felt a strange pull, a connection he couldn't explain. When do we leave? He asked. 2 weeks later, Eric stood on a different Earthship heading towards Xertia. This time, he wasn't just security for diplomats. He was the center of the mission. Ambassador Franklin briefed him as they traveled. Earth's United Planetary Council is divided on this issue. Some see it as a threat, others as an opportunity. You've become quite important, Lieutenant Commander. I never asked for this, Eric said, watching the stars streak by. No one ever asks for history to happen to them, she replied. When they arrived at Xertia, a small delegation met them. No grand welcome this time. They were taken directly to the royal palace in the capital city. Eric gasped when he saw Zorlaya. Her normally blue-green body now swirled with golden patterns he had never seen before. She looked both alien and beautiful. Lieutenant Commander Wells, she said formally, for the benefit of those watching. Your Majesty, Eric replied with a bow. Later, when they were alone except for trusted advisors, Zorlaya's formal demeanor dropped. Eric, she said, her voice the same musical tone he had heard in his dreams. I did not expect this situation. Any more than you did? I still don't understand how it's possible, Eric said. Dr. Kelk stepped forward. We believe your DNA, altered by our healing procedures, somehow matched with the Queen's during her health scan. The resulting genetic combination should have been rejected by her body, but instead it thrived. It is as if your species and ours were meant to combine. The child is healthy? Eric asked. Zorlea's colors shifted to a warm orange. Very healthy. In fact, healthier than pure Xertian offspring would be? Our species has struggled with genetic problems for generations. Eric looked at her growing form. What happens now? That is partly why you are here, Zorlea said. This child will be both Xertian and human. It will need both worlds. And it will need both parents. Ambassador Franklin cleared her throat. The diplomatic implications are complex. This child could be seen as having claim to Xertian leadership while also being an Earth citizen by paternal right. I don't care about politics, Eric said. I care about doing what's right for my child. Zorlea's colors brightened at his words. For the first time since hearing the news, Eric felt something beyond shock and confusion. He felt a growing sense of connection to this unborn child, to Zorlea, and to a future he never could have imagined. News of the hybrid child spread quickly across both planets. On Earth, people gathered around screens to watch reports about the human who had somehow fathered an alien queen's baby. Some called it a miracle, others a threat. In a large meeting room in Earth's capital, the United Planetary Council argued loudly. 50 representatives from Earth's nations sat around a circular table, facing each other with tense faces. This hybrid child could give Xertians access to human genetic information, said Counselor Greg Peters, pounding his fist on the table. It's a security risk. Counselor Maria Juarez shook her head. Or it could be the greatest diplomatic opportunity in human history. Think of what we could learn from each other. At the end of the table, Dr. Alan Patterson, Earth's top expert on alien biology, tried to explain the science. The fact that human and Xertian DNA could combine at all is remarkable. It suggests our species might share ancient origins despite evolving on different planets. Can the child claim Earth citizenship? Someone asked. Could it inherit the Xertian throne? Asked another. No one had clear answers. There were no rules for this situation. Meanwhile, Earth's people formed opinions, based on limited information. Some feared the unknown, while others celebrated the connection between worlds. On Xertia, the situation was even more tense. Elder MZZK led protests in the Crystal City. His followers waved signs with angry words in the Xertian language. Their bodies flashed red and black with rage. The royal line must remain pure. Mescus shouted to the crowd. This human-tainted offspring cannot be allowed to rule. Inside the royal palace, Zorlea met with her supporters. Her body now glowed with swirls of gold and purple as her pregnancy advanced. Young Xertians especially seemed drawn to her new colors. The old ways have led to weakness, said Counselor Vreen. Our population decreases each generation due to genetic problems. Perhaps this new path is what we need. Eric sat beside Zorlea in these meetings, feeling out of place but determined to stand by her. He had requested extended leave from Earth's Space Force, which Captain Rivera had granted with understanding. How are you feeling? Eric asked Zorlea when they were alone. Her colors shifted to soft blue. The child grows strong. Our doctors say its mixed genetics show none of the problems pure Xertians often face. Eric placed his hand near her abdomen, not touching without permission. Xertians were private about their bodies. May I? Zorlea's colors turned pink with emotion. She guided his hand to rest on her middle. Eric felt a small movement. Was that? Yes, she said. The child responds to your voice and touch. Something warm spread through Eric's chest. Despite the strange situation, despite the politics and protests, this was his child. The connection felt real and powerful. Their moment was interrupted when Thrix, Zorlea's most trusted advisor, rushed in. His body flashed warning colors. My queen, we've received threats. Elder Mesca's followers plan to attack the palace. They want to force you to end the pregnancy. Eric immediately went into soldier mode. We need to increase security. Are there allies we can trust? Thrix nodded. The younger generation stands with the queen, and the royal guard remains loyal. Zorlea's colors darkened with worry. I will not be driven from my own palace by fear. This child represents hope for our future. Over the next few days, security tightened around the royal residence. Eric worked with the Xertian guards, teaching them human military tactics. The different approaches complemented each other, making their defense stronger. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Franklin received disturbing news. A small group of human extremists had stolen a ship and were heading toward Xertia. They claimed they would save humanity from alien influence. The ambassador immediately contacted Eric through the special communication link they had established. "There are threats coming from both sides," she told him. "Earth has sent ships to intercept the extremists, but we can't guarantee they'll be stopped in time." Eric shared this information with Zorlaya and her advisors. "We're caught between dangers from both worlds." Dr. Kelks, who had been monitoring the Queen's health, spoke up. "The stress is not good for the Queen or the child. Perhaps we should consider moving to a safer location until after the birth. Leave Xertia?" Zorlaya's colors flashed with surprise. "Where would we go?" Eric thought for a moment. "What about neutral territory?" The space station at Proxima Centauri is run by a coalition of peaceful species. Neither Earth nor Xertian extremists would have easy access there. Thrix considered. It could work. We could claim it's a diplomatic mission, keep the real purpose secret until you're safely away. Zorlaya looked at Eric. "Would you come with me?" "Of course," he said without hesitation. "I won't leave you or our child to face this alone." They began making plans in secret. Only their most trusted allies knew the truth. To the public, Zorlaya announced she would be making a goodwill tour to neighboring systems. Eric contacted Captain Rivera through secure channels, explaining the situation. "I need help, Captain. Medical support from people we can trust." Captain Rivera didn't hesitate. "I'll send Dr. Samantha Cole. She's the best xenobiologist in the Space Force and completely trustworthy." 2 days before they planned to leave, Eldermech's followers attempted to break into the palace. The combined human and Xertian security tactics repelled them, but it was clear they needed to move quickly under cover of darkness. Zorlaya, Eric, and a small team slipped away from the palace through an ancient tunnel. They boarded a small, fast ship that would take them to the neutral space station. As Xertia grew smaller through the view screen, Zorlaya's colors turned sad blue. "I never thought I would have to flee my own world." Eric took her hand. It felt strange, her 3 fingers against his 5, but somehow right. "It's temporary. We'll return when it's safe, with our child." "What will our child be like?" Zorlaya wondered. "Not fully Xertian? Not fully human?" "Something new," Eric said. "Something better than either of us alone." As their ship accelerated toward the stars, messages arrived from both planets. Earth's Council and Xertia's progressives pledged support and protection. Scientists from both worlds requested permission to study the pregnancy, not to interfere, but to learn. Despite the danger and uncertainty, Eric felt strangely hopeful. This unexpected bond between him and Zorlaya had created something that might bridge 2 worlds. Their child would be first of its kind, facing challenges, but also carrying unique possibilities. "No matter what happens," he promised, looking at the stars stretching before them, "we'll face it together." Zorlaya's colors shifted to a determined gold. "Together," she agreed, as their ship carried them toward an uncertain but shared future. The space station Harmony floated peacefully in orbit around Proxima Centauri b, a planet that no one claimed. The station served as neutral ground where different species could meet without politics. Its round shape with long arms extending outward made it look like a silver starfish against the black of space. Eric and Zorlaya had been there for 3 weeks. They lived in special quarters adjusted for both human and Xertian comfort. The temperature stayed between what both found pleasant, and the gravity was set slightly lighter than Earth but heavier than Xerti. Dr. Samantha Cole arrived 2 days after them. She had brought medical equipment designed for both species. Tall woman with kind eyes, Dr. Cole had studied alien biology for 15 years. "Your pregnancy is progressing well," Dr. Cole told Zorlaya during an examination. "The baby's development is unlike anything I've seen before. It seems to be taking the best traits from both species." Zorlaya's body glowed with happy pink colors. What do you mean by best traits? Dr. Cole showed them images on a screen. See here? The baby has the adaptive skin of Xertians, but with a human-like nervous system. And here the heart is strong like a human's, but with the extra chamber that Xertians have for processing different atmospheres. Eric stared at the images with wonder. So our child will be able to live comfortably on either world? It seems that way, Dr. Cole said. And there's something else interesting. The genetic problems that have troubled Xertian royalty for generations, they're completely absent in your baby. This news excited Zorlaya. My people have suffered from these problems for centuries. Each generation becomes weaker, with fewer children born. The human DNA seems to have fixed the damaged sequences, Dr. Cole explained. It's like the two genetic codes filled in each other's missing pieces. Word of this discovery spread. Soon scientists from both Earth and Xertia requested permission to visit the space station. Eric and Zorlaya agreed to allow a small group from each world. Dr. Alan Patterson led the Earth team. When he saw the medical data, he could barely contain his excitement. This could lead to breakthroughs for human medicine too. The Xertian ability to adapt to different environments could help us with space exploration and colonization. Despite these positive developments, security remained tight around the station. Captain Rivera had sent a small security team with Dr. Cole, and they worked alongside Xertian guards loyal to Queen Zorlaya one evening. Eric found Zorlaya looking out a large window at the stars. Her colors swirled with blues and purples. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, standing beside her. "Our child's future," she said. "Will it belong to your world or mine? Will it be accepted by either?" Eric considered this. "Maybe it will belong to both worlds. Or maybe it will help create something new between our planets." Zorlaya turned to face him. "When this began, it was an accident, a mistake in a medical lab, but now, Now?" Eric prompted when she paused. Her colors shifted to a deep, warm gold that he had come to recognize as affection. "Now I cannot imagine a different path. The connection between us, between our worlds, it feels meant to be." Eric reached for her hand. During their weeks together, they had created their own ways of showing affection that worked for both species. "I feel the same way." An alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "Security alert," announced a voice over the speakers. "Unknown ship approaching. All residents proceed to secure areas." Eric immediately went into protective mode. "Stay here," he told Zorlaya. "I'll find out what's happening." He ran to the security center where Captain Rivera's team worked with the station's own security forces. "What's going on?" Eric asked. Officer Ben Miller looked up from his screen. "Small ship, no identification. It's ignoring all communications. Could be those extremists who slipped past Earth's blockade." Eric's stomach tightened with worry. "How long until they reach us?" 20 minutes, maybe less." Eric made a quick decision. "Double the guards around the Queen's quarters. I'll get the doctors together in case we need to evacuate." As he turned to leave, Officer Miller called out, "Wait. The ship is sending a message now." They listened as a voice came through the speakers. "This is Counselor Vreen of Xertia. I bring urgent news for Queen Zorlaya." Eric relaxed slightly but remained cautious. Verify his identity before allowing him to dock. After thorough checks, Vreen's ship was permitted to dock at the station. The Xertian counselor hurried to meet with Zorlaya and Eric, his body flashing with urgent orange patterns. "Elder MZZK has been arrested," Vreen announced. "He was planning an attack on this station, but his followers turned against him when news spread about the baby's special genetics." "What news?" Zorlaya asked. "The data your doctor shared about. The hybrid child solving our genetic problems. Young Xertians are calling it evolution's gift. Public opinion has shifted dramatically. They want you to return home." Eric remained suspicious. "How do we know this isn't a trap?" Vreen's body flashed with truth blue, a color Xertians couldn't fake. "I have brought official messages from the council. They have voted to welcome the child as a true royal heir, and they invite the human father to be recognized as royal consort if he wishes." Zorlaya and Eric looked at each other in surprise. Before they could respond, Dr. Cole rushed in. "Sorry to interrupt, but the Queen needs to come to medical immediately. The baby's vital signs have changed. I think labor is beginning." Everyone moved quickly to the medical center. Zorlea's colors swirled faster than usual, showing her mix of excitement and fear. Eric stayed by her side, holding her hand when the contractions came. Dr. Cole worked with Dr. Patterson and Dr. Kelks, who had arrived with Rain. They combined their knowledge of both species to monitor the unusual birth. "Everything looks good," Dr. Cole assured them. "The baby is strong." Hours passed. Representatives from Earth and Xersha waited outside the medical center, some having arrived just in time after hearing the news. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, a new sound filled the room, a cry that seemed half human wail, half Xershan trill. Dr. Cole placed the newborn on Zorlea's chest. "It's a girl," she said softly. Eric stared in wonder at his daughter. She had iridescent skin like a Xershan, but it was softer, more flexible than their hard shells. Her face looked surprisingly human, with a small nose and lips. But her eyes, when she opened them briefly, were large like a Xershan's. Most remarkable was how her skin shifted colors even in these first moments of life, from gentle blue to curious yellow. "She's beautiful," Eric whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Zorlea's body glowed with the brightest gold he had ever seen. "She is perfect, the first of a new kind." "What will you name her?" Dr. Cole asked. Zorlea looked at Eric questioningly. They had discussed names but made no final decision. "Nova," Eric suggested. "It means new star in an old Earth language. Something bright and new in the universe." "Nova," Zorlea repeated, her voice making the word sound musical. "Yes, that fits her. Nova, daughter of two worlds." As word spread of the successful birth, celebrations began on both planets. The first human Xershan child had arrived, bringing with her the promise of a new connection between worlds that once thought themselves alone in the universe. 1 year had passed since Nova's birth. The royal gardens of Xersha bloomed with crystal flowers that caught the light of the twin suns. Their rainbow colors reflected off the pools of silver water. Eric watched as Nova took wobbly steps across the soft moss. Her skin rippled with excited pink colors when she managed 3 steps in a row before falling gently onto her bottom. At 1-year-old, she looked like a perfect blend of human and Xershan. Her face had human features, but her eyes were large and expressive like a Xershan's. Her skin changed colors with her emotions, yet it wasn't the hard shell of pure Xershan's. Instead, it was soft like human skin, but with the beautiful iridescent quality of her mother's people. "She's trying again," Zorlea said, her body glowing with proud gold light. Nova pushed herself up and reached her small hands toward Eric. Her fingers were a compromise between species 4 on each hand instead of either human 5 or Xershan 3. As she concentrated on walking to her father, her skin shifted from pink excitement to determined blue. "Come on, Nova," Eric encouraged. "You can do it." This time she managed 5 steps before tumbling into his waiting arms. Her skin flashed bright yellow with happiness, and she made the trilling sound that was her laugh, part human giggle, part Xershan melody. "She grows stronger every day," said Thrix, who had become Nova's official guardian according to Xershan tradition. The past year had brought many changes to both worlds. After Nova's birth, Eric and Zorlea had returned to Xersha with their daughter. The public welcomed them with celebration. Young Xershans especially viewed Nova as a symbol of a new future. On Earth, the reaction had been more mixed but mostly positive. Scientists were excited by the medical discoveries that came from studying Nova's unique biology. Politicians saw opportunities for deeper alliance with Xersha. Regular people were simply fascinated by the story of the human warrior and the alien. Queen Eric had resigned from Earth's Space Force to accept a new position as Earth's official ambassador to Xersha. Captain Rivera had supported his decision with a simple message: "Some duties are more important than others. Your family needs you more than we do." Family, the word still felt strange to Eric sometimes. He had never planned to have children, especially not with an alien queen. Yet now he couldn't imagine life without Nova and Zorlaya, their relationship had evolved into something unique, not quite marriage in the human sense, but a formal union recognized by both governments. They had created their own traditions, blending customs from both worlds. The Earth delegation arrives tomorrow, Zorlaya reminded him, moving to stand beside him as they watched Nova play with the crystal flowers. Are you ready? Eric nodded. The joint education program is almost finalized. 10 human students will begin studies here, and 10 Xertians will go to Earth. This exchange program had been Eric's idea, a way to build deeper understanding between their worlds. Young people would learn each other's languages, cultures, and sciences. It would start small but grow over time. And what about the medical research? Zorlaya asked. Dr. Patterson and Dr. Kelks have made incredible progress, Eric said. The treatments developed from Nova's genetics have already helped 20 Xertian children with royal disease. And on Earth, they're testing applications for space adaptation. Nova crawled over to them, her skin swirling with curious green. She reached up, wanting to be held. Zorlaya lifted her, and Nova's small hand touched her mother's face in the Xertian gesture of affection. Ma, she said clearly, then she turned to Eric. Da. Her first words had appeared 2 months ago, neither fully human nor fully Xertian. Sounds, but something new that both could understand. Later that evening, after Nova was asleep in her special bed that accommodated her unique needs, Eric and Zorlaya stood on the balcony overlooking the Crystal City. The lights of Xertia's capital glowed below them like fallen stars. Sometimes I still can't believe how we got here, Eric said. From that first diplomatic mission to this. Zorlaya's color shifted to the deep blue of serious thought. Do you ever regret it, the accident that changed both our lives? Eric thought about his old life on Earth, the routine, the loneliness, the sense that something was missing. Then he thought about Nova, about Zorlaya, about the bridge they were building between worlds. Never, he said honestly. It was unexpected, but it gave me purpose. It gave both our worlds something we needed. Hope, Zorlaya agreed, her colors warming to gold. A new path forward. The next morning, representatives from both planets gathered in the Great Hall of the Royal Palace. Humans in formal attire stood beside Xertians with their bodies displaying respectful color patterns. Nova sat between her parents on special chairs made to accommodate both species. As the official ceremony began, Nova's skin rippled with rainbow colors that neither human nor Xertian had ever seen before. The crowd gasped in wonder. She continues. To surprise us, Zorlaya whispered. Eric smiled. I have a feeling she'd be doing that for years to come. The leader of Earth's delegation stepped forward, a woman named Lavra Shun. Today we formalize the alliance between Earth and Xertia with the establishment of the first Joint Education Center. In honor of those who made this possible, it will be named the Wells Zorlaya Academy for Interspecies Harmony. Applause and, Xertian color flashing filled the room. Eric felt a surge of pride, not just for the recognition but for what it represented. From an accidental beginning had come something wonderful, a future neither world could have imagined alone. As the ceremony continued, Nova reached out to grab both her mother's hand and her father's simultaneously. Her skin glowed with a color they had come to recognize as love, a deep, warm purple gold that seemed to light her from within. Later, as families from both worlds mingled in the gardens, Eric watched Nova play with human and Xertian children. They were awkward at first, unsure how to interact across species. But Nova moved easily between them, showing the humans how to play Xertian color games and teaching the Xertians how to play human clapping games. She belongs to both worlds. Yet is something entirely new, Zorlaya said. Coming to stand beside him, Eric put his arm around her in the human gesture they had both come to appreciate. Just like what we're building together. As the twin suns of Xertia set on the horizon, casting golden light across the Crystal City, Eric thought about the long journey ahead. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and difficult days, but there would also be discovery, growth, and connection. What had begun as an unexpected Bondan accident of biology had become the foundation for something greater than either of them had imagined. Two worlds, once separate, now linked. Through a warrior, a queen, and their remarkable child.